Hi, my name is Donna Flynn and I will be your instructor for this online coding course. Welcome to HIM 2229C, Introduction to Coding. In this class you will learn to identify and select ICD 9 and ICD 10 CM codes, which are used in the filing of claims and is an important part of the reimbursement process. The ICD 9 and ICD 10 CM codes are maintained and distributed by the American Medical Association. Standardizing codes improves consistency among physicians in recording patient symptoms and diagnoses for the purpose of payer claims, reimbursement, and clinical research. You may have heard that ICD-10 CM is scheduled to be implemented in October of 2015. So you may be asking, why are we continuing to learn ICD-9? This is because even if ICD-10 is implemented as scheduled, which is doubtful, there will be many occasions where coders are required to use codes from both ICD-9 and ICD-10 for a while. Therefore, we will begin the term with a study of ICD-9 and finish up with ICD-10. Don't let this make you nervous, because once you learn ICD-9, it is an easy transition to ICD-10 CM. Presently, ICD-10 CM is scheduled to go live October the 1st, 2015, after Congress stepped in and ordered CMS to delay its implementation, which was October of 2014. It is possible that some sectors of the United States healthcare, such as small employer-based payers, long-term care facilities, nursing homes, and prison medical systems, may never convert to ICD-10, rendering the U.S. healthcare a hybrid ICD-9, ICD-10 system for years to come. In 2017, ICD-11 is scheduled to be released by the World Health Organization. While the idea doesn't have deep support among U.S. policymakers, the American Medical Association and other large organizations have suggested that replacing ICD-9 CM with ICD-11 CM and skipping ICD-10 altogether merits some research, and I have to tell you that I wonder if this isn't exactly what will happen. The best way to ensure success in any class is to make sure you know what is expected in regard to the policies and procedures, the weekly assignments for the class. So take the time to read through your syllabus and review the schedule of assignments carefully. We will take a minute here to look at the syllabus and schedule of assignments. There's some general information at the beginning of the syllabus, and I'll just let you review that yourself. It's pretty standard. Gives the learning outcomes and some information about important dates during this term that you may want to review. Gives you the information about your textbooks. And then we get to the weekly assignments, which I would like to go over. These weekly assignments will include discussion, practice exercises, and module tests. Now, there won't be a module test every single week. There are a few, maybe 2 or 3 weeks that you will not have a test, and there may not be discussions every week. You will have practice exercises pretty much every week, but you'll be able to look at in your module and in your schedule of assignments and see when there's not a discussion or there's not a test assigned. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the assignments. The discussion forums, you've probably been in an online class before where you've had discussion forums. So when a discussion is assigned, you'll be asked to respond individually to that discussion. And I'm asking that you do that by Saturday, because then that will give your classmates time. And I'm asking then, once you respond, each student will then read their classmates' responses and comment on at least 2 of those. So, and that is due by Tuesday, just like the practice exercises and the quizzes are due by Tuesday. If you have any questions about that, you can just let me know. But in general, you post your response to the question by Saturday. Everything's 11:59, and then that gives your classmates time to read and respond to your comments or your responses to the questions. You will have practice exercises scattered throughout each chapter in your coding handbooks. These exercises provide the opportunity for you to apply the coding steps and guidelines you're learning. The answers are provided, so you can check yourself to see what you understand and what you do not understand prior to taking the module quiz. And then you can go back and spend a little more time on the things that have confused you, or you can certainly ask me for assistance. The module quizzes, as I said, there are module quizzes in most weeks, but not all weeks. These quizzes will allow you to reflect and practice what you've learned from the module. They will be very similar to what you've done in the practice exercises. Each quiz is timed, and you'll be given 120 minutes for each quiz. And I know this sounds like a lot of time, but when you start coding, it takes time to look up the codes. And you'll have 2 attempts for each quiz, except for the comprehensive final at the end of the term. So you'll take the quiz once, and then I'll review it and give you feedback on the questions that you've missed. And you'll be able to look back at those and see what you missed and see what my comments are before you take it a second time. And that'll allow you to really have the opportunity to understand the material, because you can go back and review it and see if you can figure out where you went wrong based on, help with my comments. Or if you still can't figure it out before you take it the second time, you can even contact me and I will help you to understand it a little bit better. The due date for the first attempt will be on Tuesdays, and then you'll have till the following Tuesday to take it again. But remember, there's going to be an overlap, because that following week you'll have a new quiz. So plan your time wisely. And then there's something that's called questions for the professor. And basically that just has to do with if you need some help from me, you can either email me, but you can also go in, and this is like a discussion, and you can type up your question and submit it, and I will respond. I try to respond within 24 hours, but sometimes, depending on what's going on, it might be 48, and even longer on holidays and weekends. But I do try to get back with you as soon as possible. It's also like a discussion. Your classmates can chime in and help each other. If you happen to know and can give some helpful guidance, I think it's good to learn from each other, so don't hesitate to do that. I want you to realize that I do not monitor the chat room, so that's for you guys to communicate with each other and ask each other questions, but I do not monitor the chat room. So please don't pose questions there for me. Also, I want to mention something about when you take a quiz, there's a place to comment, and I'm trying to get a system so that I make sure that I see those comments. But the way Canvas is set up, there is a disconnect. So if you make a comment on the test when you've reviewed it, then I might not see it. So I ask, instead of making comments on those tests, you either email me through the course email tool, or you can put your questions in questions for the professor. Those I am more likely to see. If you do forget and put a question in the comments section of the quizzes and I don't respond within 24 to 48 hours, that means I have not seen it. So please email me, even if you just want to email me and say, hey, Ms. Flynn, look at my comment on the Module 4 quiz. Because I'm always there to help you, and if I don't respond, it means I haven't seen it for some reason. Okay, let's look at the attendance policy. And even though this is an online class, attendance is mandatory. The college has a policy, as well as I have a policy for the course, and that is that each week your attendance is measured by whether you complete the graded assignments or not. And if you do not complete the graded assignments, if you don't do the practice exercises, you don't take the quiz when they're assigned, then you're considered absent. And the policy of the college is that if you're absent more than 2 weeks in a row, then you are to be withdrawn from the class. We have to do non-attendance reporting every 2 weeks, and the college is pretty strict about that rule. And so if for some reason you are going to be out, just be sure that you communicate with me and that we work together. Communication is going to be the key. And here, this will just be posted for you, is the schedule of assignments. and you see that it tells you in like module 1 what you're responsible for this particular week, and then it gives you the due date. And you see here that your first module, your first quiz, is due on Tuesday. I've got to change that. I'm sorry, it still says Sunday, but that should say Tuesday. So you see that your first quiz and your practice exercises are due on August the 25th, which again is a Tuesday because this is a mistake. And I will change that and repost your schedule. I used to have them due on Sunday, but I thought it was too much for students, and then if I wasn't available to respond over the weekend, it just didn't give students a chance to get answers back from me before the due date on Sunday. So then let's go down. I wanted to tell you about a couple of things. Oh, here, this is the one thing I wanted to mention. I mean, this is pretty straightforward, and it is a lot of work. I'll have to tell you that there is a lot of work involved, but it is the only way to learn coding. I tell students that coding is very much like learning math. The only way you can learn math is by practicing. You know, you learn how to do a problem, and then you practice to make sure you understand it. So just make sure that you don't procrastinate, and you won't have any problems getting the work done. When we start with ICD-10, if you noticed in the required materials, the required textbooks, I ask you to get the coding handbooks for ICD-9 and ICD-10 and the ICD-9 CM code book, but I did not ask you to get the ICD-10 code book. That's because of all the confusion over whether the ICD-10 is going to be implemented or not. For that reason, we have a class set. The college bought a class set for me that I can loan to you. I can loan you an ICD-10 code book so that you don't have to spend your money for it, or even your financial aid money for it. So when we get to ICD-10, if you can come by the college and check out one of these code books, then you won't have to buy it. If for some reason, I think everyone in the program lives within the general area, but if for some reason you don't, and you can't pick up a code book from me, you will have to purchase one. If you have any questions about that, let me know. And then at the end of the term, I'll have an in-class demonstration of the coding assisted software, the 3M and the quantum software that's used for coding out in the healthcare facilities. And so at that point, if you want to come in, we'll do a demonstration. It is optional if for some reason you can't come in, and I'll let you know closer to time when I'll be holding that demonstration. And at the same time, if you do come, you can turn in your code book, your ICD-10 code book that you borrowed. And if you can't come, then we can make arrangements for you to turn it in. Okay, so I think that's all we needed to talk about. Remember, you can always email me if you have a question. I'm here for you. I really want to help you in any way I can, whether that means answering your questions via email, over the telephone, or if we need to schedule a meeting, then that would be fine too. We can set that up, and I can give you some help if you get stuck. Be sure next to go through. There's some videos provided in Module 1 that will take you on a tour of your ICD-9, just some basic information on your ICD-9 CM code book, and then also some recommendations for tabbing that code book. Because the narrator in this video uses a different code book, all the codes are the same, it's just organized a little bit differently. The pages she mentions will not be the same as with your code book, but you will still be able to follow along. When she mentions a page, you may want to pause the video and find the page in your code book. I've also given you, there's a document in Module 1 that gives you the page numbers for your particular code book, and you might find that helpful. I think you have everything you need to get started, so good luck, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.